If all of us are the creators or masters of our own reality, what is the appropriate attitude towards sympathy and charity?
When you sympathize with someone's plight, you in time achieve vibrational alignment with it, which draws you from the power with which you could help them. For example, this stream that's upstream and downstream. Downstream is expectation of their recovery. Upstream is concern about their sickness. Downstream is expectation of well-being. Upstream is awareness of not well-being. Often when someone says, I'm going to heal myself, they turn upstream because they're focused upon the illness that they're wanting to overcome. So it's an upstream vibration. So words are not very important, but usually when someone is offering sympathy or compassion, they're looking at something unwanted. And in doing so, they deprive themselves of the resources. Jesus is a healer that is often spoke of. There have been many. But when you sat before him dripping your illness, he did not allow himself to see your illness. Instead, he knew your wellness. And he knew it so powerfully because he was seeing through the eyes of Source that your illness for the time of his gaze could not abide in the vibration. In other words, he just blitzed the vibration with so much knowledge of well-being that it influenced you to the belief of well-being. He told more than one, it's your belief that has made you whole. And your belief was influenced by his belief. Now, that would be the best definition of compassion. Attention to what is really wanted. But you see, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and the Source within you turns its undivided attention toward what you do want. So we would say follow suit with the Source energy. Give undivided attention to what is wanted. When you give your attention to what is not wanted, you cannot help but join that vibration. And when you join that vibration, you cannot help but pull yourself apart from the powerful resources of well-being. And then you have nothing to give. People sometimes say, Abraham, you teach selfishness. We say, indeed we do. Because if you're not selfish enough to keep yourself tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you have nothing to give anyone. So you just have to ask yourself, how compassionate do you want to be? There are people so compassionate that they feel terrible all the time and they are of no value to anyone. And there are people so selfish that they feel good all the time and they are of value to anyone that they give their attention to. So we would say compassion or happy. Pick happy every time. We would say appreciation or gratitude. Feel the difference. Gratitude, almost always looking at what you're grateful that you have overcome. Splitting hairs, but can't you feel the difference? I'm grateful that I don't have that anymore. Now you've got it again. Appreciation is attention to that which is becoming. Think of the word in and of itself. Appreciation, expansion, becoming. Really good.
Thank you, Abraham, for all that you have taught me and all that you have given to us to learn how to create the joys in our life that we all dream of, but at some point in our life weren't taught to be real. I came to see you 6 years ago, and you helped me to kind of flesh out my unconscious beliefs to attract my soulmate, which I did 2 months later. And I came to see you a couple years ago, and you helped me to, again, identify unconscious beliefs that were holding back feelings of abundance. So now I sit here, having created a phenomenal company.
Greedy little bugger, isn't she?
Question is, I seem to have a challenge with remembering people's names and remembering people's faces, even when I've had conversations with them and I should remember them. And in my business, it's actually very embarrassing. And they perceive it as that I don't care about them or that they're not significant to me. But I basically feel my brain is so full of everything that I'm trying to accomplish that there's not much room left for anything else?
Well, we don't think that that's a good answer.
Okay.
Because that beats the drum of how you're not smart. In other words, I don't have an expansive enough brain to hold all of this, and that isn't it at all. Anything that's important to you, you can focus upon and recall it. But the attention that people are giving to things like that is what leads them off into believing more in the action part of the equation than is really of value to them. And so we think maybe at an unconscious level that this is your broader perspective wanting to let you know that there are more things to think about and more things to give your attention to than labels. And there's a lot more to creating your business than in a phony way shoring up others by remembering their name. If someone's insecure because you don't say their name, you don't want to play with them anyway. And you see, a name is just a label, and a label is more on the action-oriented side of this. So let's say that you were in a situation where you didn't remember someone's name, and it felt to you that it was important to do so, and you maybe even sensed that they were annoyed and maybe even testing you to see if you did remember their name, and you don't. So you're standing there and you're wondering how you're going to interface with this person. So rather than focusing upon the fact that you can't remember their name, which is totally upstream, you begin to take them in vibrationally. You begin to notice their positive aspects. You begin to feel from your feeling sensors whether they are a match to who you are. And if they are a strong vibrational match to you, you'll get their name and you'll know their name. If they're not that strong of a vibrational match, it's just a piece of information that's no point in you cluttering up your vibrational sphere with. So let's say that someone that you want to remember that you don't remember is standing before you, and you're now trying to think of something to say, and you say to them, you know, I cannot tell you what your name is, even though I have a sense that it's been told to me before, but I'm sort of overcome with something about you that seems to supersede your name. And then you can go on to tell them what it is. You seem so clear and so bright. You are intoxicating to me. I am drawn to you. I want to have a conversation with you. It's as if you know something that I want to know, and you have something that I want to possess. It's as if we are meant to co-create together. I must now know your name. In other words,
But I have a hard time remembering if I've even met them before. So it's not even the name, it's just...
But here's the thing that we want you to hear in that. There is so much data that is moving around you. And this action orientation that we've been talking about, the morphing from less action into more vibration, this is part of that process. And it's not that you're not remembering things that are important, it's that things that aren't important you're not remembering. You could meet someone and there could be a vibrational connection, and years could go by and you would meet them again and you'd get right up to speed with where you were before if it was a significant meeting. But there are so many meetings that aren't significant, and this is where the action-oriented part of it goes. People are trying so hard to make things that aren't important be important.
Okay.
And that's really one of them. You're not meant to remember each and every detail of the myriads of details. No one does. But if it's important and you focus upon it, the vibration will activate and law of attraction will help you out. Let law of attraction be the tool that gives you the infinite intelligence that you need on any subject in the world. It's not your job to hold all of these facts and figures and names and details in your awareness. It's not even a possible thing to do. So next time you don't remember someone's name, say to yourself, I don't remember your name. I'm wondering if your vibration is important to me. And if it is, focus upon it and you'll have a meaningful conversation. And you'll then know their name, which you will then forever be able to associate with that vibration.
Okay.
You call us Abraham because we've told you that's our name, but we really do not have a name. We are vibration, which means we don't have names or labels, and we don't use words. We offer vibration that Esther and all of you are receiving at different levels and interpreting, you see. And it's not important. You rarely, unless someone insists on it, hear us call anyone by name. In other words, your name is not important to us. Your vibration is absolutely known to us. And when you become more source-like, you'll feel that way without guilt.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. It's sort of like you have one foot in one world and one foot in the other. You've got this one foot in the world of action, where most of the people you know hang out. And now you've got your other foot in the world of vibration, where most of the people that you know don't really understand. And if you could get both feet in the vibrational world, you would be to them like magic. They would begin to say to you, it seems that you barely identify a desire, and universal forces come into play for you. What is your secret? And you say, I got both feet in the vibrational world. I've stopped worrying about things that don't matter, and I've started giving my attention to what does matter, which is the way I feel. Yes. When we talk about you, we cannot talk about you without talking about us, because you cannot be apart from us. We cannot be apart from you. But a difference worth noting between your relationship with us and our relationship with you is that we give our undivided attention to the expanded version of you, and you give more of your attention to the justification for your expansion. So while you're explaining to someone who's not listening why you deserve an improved life, we're over here living your improved life and basking in it and reveling in it and adoring you for creating it and calling you to it. And we want you to know you can come anytime, and you are coming eventually. And when you croak, you'll be here with us, reveling in all that you've become. But you don't have to croak to experience it. And you are coming whether you're coming willingly or not, because you cannot hold back from what life has caused you to become. And every time you feel negative emotion and you think it's because your lover left you, or because your mate wants something different than you do, or because your business is requiring more of you than you have to give it, or because your daughter was born with some things that other people are not experiencing in terms of challenge, every time you find something and you use it as your excuse or your justification to ask for a long time, in other words, when you chronically justify, you hold yourself inordinately apart from all that you deserve. And every negative emotion that you feel, whether you call it despair or just minor irritation, is because you are in that moment, by virtue of what you're thinking, activating a thought which is the culprit, which is the reason that you're not letting yourself keep up with you. And there's no reason to do that, because you have the facility to completely keep up with you. We want to express our appreciation back to you. You've been flowing a lot of it our way. And we want to remind you that because of your willingness to explore the contrast, and because of your willingness to focus in this body, and because of your ability to think and decide, you are the most significant factor in the expansion of this expanding universe. And that's something for you to begin to crow about. We want you to understand that because of your willingness to explore this contrast, and because of the variety and the vastness of this contrast, that you are launching rockets of desire far into future experience, and future generations will benefit dramatically by the contrast that you're living and the asking that is coming about as a result of the contrast that you're living. We're just here to remind you that all of that was in motion before you got here, and that didn't change because you did get here. You knew that that would be a given. You knew that you could not fail at life. We're not here talking with you because any of that needs to be fixed, because it could not be more perfect. We're here talking with you because you are supposed to be living joyful lives in the process of this. You are supposed to be receiving the reward or benefit of your asking here and now. That's why we've come forth, to help you find the joy that you deserve here and now. That's the success of life. If you want to know how well you're doing in fulfilling your reason for being, it is measured by your degree of joy. The happier you are, the more on track you are.